Hello students, today I will start with the next part of the periodicity in properties, that is the part 4 of periodicity in properties. Okay, so let's start with it. Okay, in today's video I'll start with that how will you determine the position of a particular element by just seeing the electronic configuration, the position of the element in the periodic table. Means how will you find out the position of the element in periodic table? Just by seeing the electronic configuration. Look at this element, look at this electronic configuration. Okay, just seeing the electronic configuration you have to determine. How will you determine? There are certain processes. You know the period number will be equal to the principal quantum number of the outermost energy shell. See, look at this. The outermost energy shell is 3. So the period number will be 3. For finding out the group, you have to find out that in which block does this element belong to. Okay, see, the last electron has entered after the filling of the 1s orbital, 2s orbital, 2p orbitals. The last electron has entered the 3s orbital. So this element belongs to the s block. Now group. To find out the group, there are different processes for the 4 blocks. For S block, the group number will be equal to the number of ns electrons, where n is the principal quantum number of the outermost shell. For P block, the group number will be equal to 10 plus number of ns electrons plus number of np electrons. For D block, the group number will be equal to number of ns electrons plus number of n-1 d electrons. Means n-1 is the penultimate shell, the quantum number of the penultimate shell. Means the last but one. This will be known as the penultimate shell. Okay, n-1. And for F block, the group number is equal to 3. It is fixed at 3. Okay, so for this element, as it belongs to S block, the period number will be number of ns electrons, and see here the ns orbital is the 3s orbital. So for this, the group number will be 1. So we can say that an element with electronic configuration like this will be placed at period 3 and group 1 of the periodic table. Okay. Now I'll come to another example. Look at this. Here the period number will be, see, the outermost shell is 3. So the period number will be 3. block. See, after filling all these orbitals, the last electron enters the 3p orbital. So block will be p block. Now for p block you have to find the group. It is 10 plus number of ns electrons, which is 2, plus number of nt electrons, which is 4. So it will be group 16. So the element with this electronic configuration is placed in period 3 and group 16. I'll come to another example. Look at this. Here, see, the principal quantum number of the outermost shell is 4. So period will be 4. Block, we know that first the 4s orbital is filled and after that the 3d orbital is filled due to the higher energy of the 3d orbital. So the last electron enters the 3d orbital. So it is D block. And for finding the group for D block, number of ns electrons, which is 2, plus number of n-1 d electrons, which is 6. So it belongs to, this element belongs to period 4 and group 6. I'll come to the last example of this type of sums, means, or this type of questions. One S2, 2S2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 3d10, 4s1. Now first is the period number. Look at the period number. Outermost shell is 4. So the period number is 4. Now for the block. See, we all know that first the 4s orbital is filled and then the 3d orbital is filled. So that the configuration would have been 3d9, 4s2. But because of the extra stability due to the half-filled and the full-filled orbitals, or half-filled and the full-filled configuration, one 4s electron will be excited to the 3d orbital, and here the 3d orbital, instead of having 9 electrons, will have 10 electrons, and the 4s orbital, instead of having 2 electrons, will have 1 electron, in order to become in order to gain the stability of full-filled and half-filled configurations. Okay, so the last electron enters the d orbital, so it belongs to D block. And for the group for D block, it is number of ns electrons, which is 1, plus number of n-1 d electrons, which is 10. So the group is group 11. Okay, so these are the different types of problems which can come in your exam. Okay, so after this I will show how the transuranic compounds, transuranic elements, the elements after uranium in the periodic table are known as transuranic elements. And the here I will show you how IUPAC or IUPAC have given the nomenclature of the transuranic elements having atomic number greater than 100. Okay, here I'll write for 1 it will be, okay, for 0 it is nil, for 1 it is un, for 2 it is bi, for 3 it is tri, for 4 it is quad, for 5 it is pent, for 6 it is hex, for 7 it is sept, for 8 it is oct, for 9 it is n. Okay, now the element having atomic number 101, for 1 it is un, plus for 0 it is nil, plus again 1 un, so it will give you un, nil, un. After this you have to add a suffix. What is the suffix? IUM. So this will be the systematic name. Okay, now for 103, for 1 it is un, for 0 it is nil, for 3 it is tri. So it will come un, nil, tri. See, when you are having the last letter as I and you are asked to give the suffix after this only, there we cannot repeat two I's together. So see, n's, both the n's can be repeated. N's is a repetitive number. N can be repeated once, but I cannot be repeated. So to avoid repetition, we will not give this I. We will directly add UM. Here we had to add IUM because there was no I in the last letter, but here I have I in the last letter, so I will add only UM. For 115, un for 1, un for the next, pent for the last. So it will give you un, pent and IUM, pentium. Okay. For 118, for 1 it is un, for the other one it is un, for 8 it is oct, so it will give you un, octium. Okay, so this is how these are named. Okay, now another thing I want to just tell you about these things, that if there is an atomic number of 900, then for 9 it will be N, for 0 it will be nil, for another 0 it will be nil. So the name will be N. See, here there is 2n, but including this n there will be 3 n's consecutively. That cannot be written. So one of the n is being removed. One of the n from this n will be removed. Okay, and will give you only 2 n's. Okay, so this will be the systematic name of this element. Okay, okay, so this is how they are named. After this I'll start with the periodic properties. Okay, before this, let me just tell you what is lanthanoid contraction. What is lanthanoid contraction? Okay, it is being observed that the lanthanides starting from cerium to lutetium, as we move from cerium to lutetium, the atomic as well as the ionic radii decreases. Now, what is the reason behind this? The reason behind the decrease in the atomic and ionic radii from cerium to lutetium is lanthanoid contraction. The lanthanoids will undergo a contraction. Now, why? Because of two reasons. The lanthanoids are those elements in which the 4f orbital is partly or fully filled. So, the 4f orbitals have a diffused shape. Not only 4f, all the f orbitals have a diffused shape. That's why they have the lowest shielding power or the lowest shielding effect. The diffused f orbitals with low shielding effect. As a result, the effective nuclear charge of the nucleus on the outer electrons or the 4f electrons increases. The effective nuclear charge on the outer electrons increases. As a result, the contraction occurs. And we know that as the atomic number increases, the nuclear charge will increase. So, with increase in atomic number, the nuclear charge increases more and more, and therefore the contraction occurs. Okay, so this is lanthanoid contraction. Now I'll come to the periodic properties. The first property among this is atomic radii. Atomic radii are of three types. The first type is covalent radii. See, we know that the covalent molecules are formed by the sharing of electrons. Okay? So, if this is the nucleus of this atom, this is the nucleus of the other atom, then this is the internuclear distance. Means the distance between the nucleus of the two atoms. And this is for homonuclear compounds. Means the compounds in which, means the molecules in which, the covalent molecules in which both the atoms are from the same element. Hydrogen, chlorine, all this. Okay. So, for the homoatomic compounds or homonuclear compounds, the homoatomic compounds, the covalent radii is equal to half of, if I consider the internuclear distance as d, then half of the internuclear distance. For heteroatomic compounds, if I consider this atom as A and that atom as B, then the internuclear distance will be considered as RAB. It will be equal to the radius of A plus the atomic radius of A plus the atomic radius of B. This is for heteroatomic compounds. Okay. So this is about covalent radii. Next I will come to metallic radii. See, in a metal, the atoms are attached by metallic bonds. So this metallic bonds, so this is the considered as d, the internuclear distance. So the metallic radii is equal to half of the internuclear distance. And the last is the van der Waals radii. See, the van der Waals radii, in van der Waals radii, no bonds are formed directly. Okay, here the radii is considered just as a non-bonded force. We know that in 1 mole of a gas or in 1 mole of any particle, there are many molecules present. So the molecules are attracted by a weak force known as the van der Waals force. So for van der Waals force, there is no bond formed between the atoms, and this is considered as the internuclear distance. Okay, so for van der Waals radii will be half this internuclear distance. Just remember that metallic and covalent radii are formed by direct bonds. But here for van der Waals radii, non-bonded, means the radii is calculated in between non-bonded atoms. Okay. So these are the 3 types of atomic radii. Now I will come to the trends of the atomic radii. We know that across a period, the atomic radii decreases, and down the group the atomic radii increases. Now why? Because across a period the atomic number increases. With the increase in the atomic number, the number of protons present in the nucleus increases. As the number of protons present in the nucleus increases, the nuclear charge increases. Since the nuclear charge is increased, so the outer electrons are more attracted towards the nucleus. Since the outer electrons are more attracted towards the nucleus, the atomic radii decreases. Okay? But down the group, see, down the group also atomic number increases. Okay, atomic number increases. Because of the increase in atomic number, the nuclear charge also increases. So if the nuclear charge increases, the outer electrons are tightly held by the nucleus, so the atomic radii should decrease, but it does not decrease because the effect of successive addition of new shells is greater than that of nuclear charge effect. Since on moving down the group, the new shells are added in each of the element. Okay, that's why that effect is much greater than the effect of the nuclear charge. Okay, So this is the atomic radii trend. Now if I have to show you a plot, this is atomic radii and this is atomic number. This is for the plot for period 2. This will be lithium, this will be beryllium, this will be boron, nitrogen, and like this means that will decrease, either steep decrease or slow decrease, but the atomic radii will decrease across a period. This is the atomic radii and this is the atomic number, and here I will show you the plot of atomic radii for group 1. This is for period 2 and this is for group 1. Starting from lithium, here it is sodium, here it is potassium, rubidium, cesium. Francium is radioactive, not considered. Look at this. This was lithium, this was sodium, this is potassium, this is rubidium, this is cesium. See, here as I have told you that on moving down the group, the atomic radii increases. But look at the plot. Here there is still potassium, there is a steep increase, and after that there is a gradual increase. This is because till potassium there are no D and F block elements. There are no D and F block elements. But just after on moving from potassium to cesium, in between comes D block as well as F block elements. We know that the D block and the F block elements have poor shielding effect. Since they have poor shielding effect, there will be decontraction as well as lanthanoid actinoid contraction. As a result, there is a gradual increase in the atomic radii, not a steep increase. Okay, so this is about atomic radii. Now I will come to ionic radii. Here in ionic radii, you know the definition that the distance of the nucleus, the distance between the nucleus and the outermost electron cloud, that is the ionic radii. I won't come into the definition of this again and again. Now I will come to the certain valid points. What is it? That why the cations have a smaller ionic radii than the neutral atom. If I consider the example as sodium, if sodium will give one electron, it will become Na plus. Now remember, sodium has only one electron in the sodium had only one electron in the outermost shell, one electron in Na subshell. So if it donates that electron, then the last shell will be devoid of electrons, so the last shell will be removed. Then at that time only the penultimate shell will be considered as the last shell. Not only for sodium, think of potassium, that also has one Ns orbit, Ns electron, one electron in the outermost shell. If that electron is removed, then the last shell will be removed and the penultimate shell would have been considered as the last shell. Think of magnesium. In magnesium there are two outermost electrons. If both the electrons are removed forming Mg2+, then also the last shell will be removed and the penultimate shell would become the last shell. So because of that, the size of the cations decrease, that is one point. And the second point is, see, if the number of electrons decreases, but the number of protons remains same. That's why the nuclear charge remains unchanged. So the nuclear charge per electron, the nuclear charge which was attracting, which was showing its effect on per electron, means on one electron, nuclear charge per electron increases. That's why the outer electrons are more tightly held by the nucleus. So the cations have a smaller ionic radii than the neutral atom. On the other hand, just the reverse. Why the anions have a greater ionic radii than the neutral atom. Why the anions have a greater atomic ionic radii than the neutral atom? See, chlorine. Chlorine is gaining one electron. It will become Cl1 minus. See, when they are gaining one electron in the outermost shell, there will be electron-electron repulsion, which will increase the size a bit. Means there will be repulsion between the electrons which were already existing with the newly added electron. So that repulsion would increase the atomic ionic radii a bit. And the second point is that the number of electrons increases. But again, the nuclear charge remains unchanged. So, the nuclear charge per electron decreases. As a result, the ionic radii increases. Okay, and if I come to the periodic trend, it is same. The ionic radii trend is same as that of atomic radii. Across a period it will decrease, and down the group it will increase for both cations and anions. Okay. Now what do you mean by isoelectronic ions? What do you mean by isoelectronic ions? Isoelectronic ions are those ions which have the same number of electrons. Those are known as isoelectronic. Think of sodium plus, magnesium Mg2 plus. They all have both of these, lithium, these as a pair, lithium plus, beryllium 2 plus, these as a pair. These two are a pair of isoelectronic ions, and these two are a pair of isoelectronic ions. Why? See, sodium had 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. This was of sodium. But Na plus will have 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, because one electron, and I can write 3s0. One electron from the last shell has been removed. For Mg, it was 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2. But for Mg2 plus, it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s0, because the last two electrons are being removed. So, see, the electronic configuration for Na plus and the electronic configuration for Mg2 plus becomes same. So they are known as isoelectronic ions because they have the same number of electrons. Same is the case with lithium and plus and beryllium 2 plus. Okay. The ions which have the same number of electrons are known as isoelectronic ions. So this is more about this video. So in the next video I'll start with the other properties, that ionization potential, electron affinity, etc. etc. Thank you.